Alright guys, we took a break from the Ford because we had to get the 51 all wrapped up for Cletus and cars, but it's time to work on the Ford. So I still really haven't gotten to drive this thing. So as you can see, I've got the trans out of it and pulled apart already, and I'll just get right to it and show you what I found. Like I said, got the trans out and tore down, and there's the counter shaft. Everything looks pretty normal. No issues there, spins over pretty nice. And then here's the main shaft, which all the gears, everything looks really good. No issues there. But back here, that is very, very rusty. And this bearing is also supposed to be a press fit. So the fact that it just slides on and off by hand, if I could get it to do it, I think I got it crooked. So that is not right. Man, that thing is stuck on there now. It's just got to prove me wrong. There it is. Yeah, so that should not do that. That should be a press fit, but that bearing, there also shouldn't be rust in the trans. So what I did was I went and ordered a full bearing kit. So it'll have the tapered bearings for the shaft and the main shaft and the counter shaft. I also ordered all the roller bearings, the needle bearings to go underneath the gears. And then also, this thing had a bad third gear synchro. I don't know if you noticed in the video when we drove it last time, it was grinding third unless I double clutched. So I ordered all new synchros for it. So I'm going to go through it and we'll put those new parts in and we'll see what happens. Hopefully we don't find anything crazy. If we do, I'll show you that. But hopefully this is just a straightforward bearing and synchro replacement. Put it back together. All right. Again, it's almost nighttime. This seems to be a common theme with these videos, but yeah, it's when I have time. So I got the trans all put back together. Nothing like crazy. I put new bearings and new synchros in it, and I don't know. I know the rear end is pretty bad. There's a lot of backlash in the rear end. I kind of looked at that when I was putting the drive shaft back on. I should probably pull it apart and rebuild it. Throwing a lunchbox locker in like a really worn out Dana 60 was probably not the best idea. So I know the rear end's still going to be popping. That was the popping noise we heard before. But the trans should be good. Hopefully it doesn't get that crazy rattle. So I'm going to take it for a drive and see what happens. I'm hoping we're getting closer to having this thing ironed out. I mean, it's always something, but I'm hoping I'm getting there now. Man, I don't know what that noise is. The trans has all new bearings in it. It's a different transfer case. Well, guess that was kind of a success. We made it to town. Put gas in it. It's running pretty well. It's not smoking at all. So the motor's good. But the rattle that we have doesn't really seem to have changed. All new bearings, synchros. Everything looked all right in there. The only thing that I didn't like was that old bearing fell off the main shaft. They're supposed to be pressed on. New one went on the same way. It just slid right on. So, I don't know if that's it. I know there's some aftermarket main shafts that they aren't pressed on, but so I don't know if that makes a difference or not. But I'm gonna have to do some research, I guess, and try to figure out what's going on because there's nothing obviously wrong in the trans. I set the end play on the main shaft and the counter shaft. They're both on the tighter side, so nothing looked bad in the trans either. I mean, it had mileage, you could see that, but I didn't see anything crazy with it. So, I don't know. This one's got me stumped. But we're making progress because it's running pretty good. Turbo's spooling. It's a little slow to spool, but I think it's kind of learning it. I didn't really pay attention too much on the Holley because, the trans sounds like it's going to explode, and I'm just trying to drive. But it made 6 pounds, so the wastegate opened. you know, it seemed to spool faster the more we drove. I'll have to get into it and tune it, but this trans is what's got me. And then there's definitely a knocking underneath. I think it's the transfer case just hitting the bottom of the cab because it's got like a 1/4 inch clearance. So I'll have to make some room there, but frustrating, but it is progress. That's a heck of a lot further than we made it last time. So I'll just keep chugging along, trying to figure out what I can do. Well, I jacked the old girl up and I threw it on jack stands, as you can see, and I ran it through the gears and it rattles. Interestingly enough, I can't tell if it's rattling from the trans or the rear, and I knew the rear had some issues. I think I said that before, like something's not right. So I jumped under there and I measured the backlash, and it is like way out of spec, like not even close. So I've got some shims. I'm gonna shim the rear end up and see if that takes care of the noise. I don't know if it will, but this definitely needs to be done, so I'll shim this up and then we'll take it for a spin and see what happens. Well, so this is the bearing that came out of the carrier. You can see it is very, very pitted, very bad shape. So I'm guessing this is why the backlash had really opened up. So I put a fresh bearing in and I shimmed it out. I got the backlash within spec. So everything seems good in the rear end. And I just fired it up and ran it through the gears on the jack stands. Exact same noise. No change. I don't know. Gonna have to spend some more time thinking about it. But at least the rear end is good now. So that's taken care of. But yeah, the noise still there, still just as bad. It's a new day, which means a new idea on why this thing has that sound. So I was wondering if I exceeded the U-joint angles, and they didn't look too bad. So I measured them, and my running U-joint angle is like 14 degrees, which on a 1410 is significantly less than half, so my U-joint angle should be good. But what I noticed was I built this drive shaft 2 times, 3 times, I don't even know, because I made it, then I had to shorten it, then I put the transfer case in, the swap transfer case, I had to shorten it again, and what I noticed is I welded it back together wrong. So down there, you can see the yoke on the drive shaft is almost straight up and down, and up here it's across. So I got it lined up. I just phased it 90 degrees, which I guess is what I thought I had to do. Honestly, I didn't really think about it. Having them opposing seems to make sense. But everyone online in Google says, nope, that'll give you crazy vibrations. So I think, because the sound really sounds like transfer case chain, and I find it hard to believe that I'd have 2 different transfer cases that both had a sloppy chain. What I think is happening is this thing is vibrating at speed, and when it vibrates, it's causing the chain to kind of rattle and slap in the transfer case. I don't know. It's a theory. I've had many, and I've been wrong with this problem. But according to online, this is clearly wrong, so I'm going to pull the drive shaft out, cut this end off, rotate it 90 degrees so it matches that one, and then put it back together, and I don't know. Be like the rear end. Maybe it doesn't fix it, but it's fixing a problem. So it's not wasted time. But if this doesn't fix it, man, I'm just going to go crazy. All right, drive shaft is in. I just ran it through the gears on the jack stands, and it sounds good. There's like a little bit of rattle because I think the rear drive shaft balance is just not good. Probably going to have somebody actually build a drive shaft for it. But I think it's finally fixed. I just got to get it down, get it out on the road, and please God, let it be fixed. But I think I finally got it. Okay guys, so that last clip was over a month ago, like 5 weeks ago, and I put that drive shaft in after I redid it the last time, and I went and drove it, and it wasn't fixed. It was close to fixed, but it's still a little bit of noise. So I kind of figured, well, maybe the drive shaft's just not perfect. Maybe I just need to build a drive shaft for it. But we got busy. There was Cletus and cars, and we bought a boat, and honestly, this truck just sat. We took it down to the Power and Sound Festival, but all we did was cruise it over to the car show, which was 200 yards down the road, and park it. So this thing kind of just got forgotten about, and I was frustrated with it, really, is what it was, and I didn't have time. So what I did last week was I got a drive shaft made for it. The one I had, I was like, hey, if you can balance it, balance it. And they came back and they're like, yeah, it's actually bent. So I never could have gotten it right because the tube was actually a little bent. So they built that up, and hey, the trans is fixed now. There's like a little bit of rattle, but I've got no shift boots or anything, perfectly normal, but that nasty, like, just slapping chain sound, totally gone. So that's wrapped up. And then I ended up re-shimming the rear end again because the backlash had walked out a little. I don't know how that happened, but so the rear end's good. That's all done. So my last big problem with this truck is it doesn't spool. And I say it doesn't spool, and that's not entirely accurate. This thing will make 10 pounds of boost. Like, you know, pretty good. And it rips, but it doesn't build boost until 4,300 RPM. And this is the exact same turbo I've got on the 51. It's a GT45. This is a 5.7. The 51, well, it doesn't have an engine right now, but when it has an engine, 5.9 with a GT45 spools at 2,000 RPM. So this isn't right. And what I think happened, or what I think I did wrong, was I think I undersized the intercooler piping. I bought this tiny little intercooler that you guys saw before because it fits, and it was 2.5-inch tubing, and I didn't think about it, and I just built it in 2.5, and I think it's just too small. So what I did real quick was, I mean, here's some 3, it just dwarfs that. I bought some 3-inch, I got some little 90s here, and I'm just going to come right off the turbo and just right into the inlet. I'm going to bypass the intercooler, all the tubing. It'll be 3-inch, which should be plenty, especially with this short of a run. Well, it's ugly. It's really ugly. But it's 3-inch now, so it's way up from the 2.5. It's way shorter. Let's go see if this thing spools like it should. All right. See what happens. Whoa! Yeah, it boost cut already. Yeah, it's boost cutting. Like super early. Finally! Oh, finally! I gotta get into the tune. It's actually building boost and not at 4,300. It feels so much better. Like, oh, I think I blew the boot off. That one clamp wasn't quite tight enough, and I think I blew the boot off because it's not building boost, but I can hear it spooling. Hell yeah! Hell yeah! This thing is finally getting there. Oh my god! I feel so much better about this thing now. Oh my god! I gotta go back and tighten that boot, play with the wastegate. I think I just gotta turn off the boost controller and just see what she does. Oh, finally! Finally! Alright, I shimmed up that clamp, I welded some beads on the tube, so hopefully it doesn't blow the boot off again. And I also went and I turned off the boost controller, so it should make wastegate like 8-ish pounds. And I took my boost cut from 10 to 15. So, we'll see what happens here, but it should build boost and actually take it, so let's see what happens. think that's what happened, because it's not built boost again. Oh man. Hey, that'll get your heart pounding with boom. I'm gonna have to drive it home NA, because they blew it off the throttle body this time. So the last one held, but throttle body didn't hold, so well, take it home and I'll have to figure that one out now. Well, intercooler boots are as tight as they can go without me breaking them, I think, so see what she does. Man, does she get rolling? This thing's awesome. It definitely boost creeps. It starts at 8 pounds and it gets over 10. That wastegate must not be able to flow enough. Going. This thing cruises really nice, I guess. The wipers work. It's raining, but she's a driver. That's all I want out of this truck, is a driver that'll surprise some people. And she's finally coming around to it. Slightly wet. Oh, it's a handful. I love it. I love it. This is what I wanted. This is all I wanted out of this truck. It's finally here. It's been a hell of a fight, but oh my God. Overdrive, 65 mile an hour, 1700 RPM. This is an amazing feeling. I am so pumped right now. This thing has kicked my butt for so long. Oh my God. It's not even tuned. Oh my God. Well, guys, the Ford's a ripper. It's awesome. It's scary. I mean, it's wet. It's a little wet right now, just barely, but probably not the best day to go rip it under full power. But oh, it's coming around. It spools so hard. It spools so fast. It just, oh, my heart's pounding. Like, my hands are trembling. Like, this is, oh, it feels so good right now. I am so happy this thing is finally where it is. But it just means we got to dial it in and make it even better. Oh, man. You come back next time, guys. We're putting the 51 back together. That motor is ready to be assembled. And then this thing, we got to get this thing dialed in because it's finally, man, it's there. I feel like I finally got it, so I'm so happy. But for all of you that followed along on this thing and know how much this thing just killed me time after time and all the struggles I had, I hope you feel as good about it as I do, because, man, it feels damn good.